Hi, it's Robin. Got the camera extra high up here to make room for this new to me in-box VIC-20. Still has the price tag. Zellers, my favorite Canadian department store, they're gone now. It was $299.95 and then it was bought, looks like on sale for $199.95. I don't think I've ever seen this box. It's the Canadian version. It's like a slip cover. So on the back side, we've got French. L'ordinateur en couleur personnelle avec l'acceptation d'un jeu public. Something about a color personal computer, and it's so exciting that you get public games. I don't know. De bon jeu, un bel apprentissage. Something about your appendages. Think it is a wonderful price for really good games. You know, I'm super good at French. I'm Canadian, eh? Plus, budgetisation domestique. I think that means like household budget. Amelioration. Something about, I think it's like exfoliation, skincare or something. Plantification, financier. And again, something about really great games. You can connect a cassette or a cartridge. It's got instructions on the screen, very detailed. Clavier. Is that some sort of piano? And it hooks up to your television. And down here, Commodore Ordinateur. So we'll open this up later, but like I say, it's like a slip box. There's a more regular American VIC-20 box under here. And I assume this was to comply with our bilingual language laws. But again, I don't remember seeing this, but of course the VIC-20 was fairly short-lived. Released in 1981, and then the Commodore 64 already came out in 1982 and very quickly became popular. So this really only had 2-3 years of good sales life before it just fell off. Okay, but I didn't just get that. I also got, does this fit here? Sorry about the glare. Viccessories. Les Viccessories. And also from Zellers, $89.95. Looks like it had a sales price sticker here, but that's fallen off. But this is a bonus pack. Again by Commodore as Ensemble Boni. And this is something I don't think I've ever seen before either. It comes with a couple cartridges, a joystick, and a dust cover. Hey, it's just really neat finding all this box still. It's obviously not brand new, but I mean, it's from 42 years ago. I think it was just very lightly used and then put back in the box and kept in somebody's basement. And on the back of that bonus pack has this picture of the VIC-20, which looks like an original PET style keyboard, and then a bunch of accessories for it. Cassettes, joystick, disk drive, dataset, printer VIC modem, those paddles that clone the Atari ones, and a whole bunch of cartridges. Oh, I see Midnight Drive twice. They must have really liked that game. And the last thing in this pile, I also got the dataset unit, which isn't all that remarkable, but this box is a bit different than I'm used to seeing. The shape of it's different. Okay, and just look at that quickly, because to me it's like kind of the least interesting thing out of this find. It's got the manual, copyright 1982, preliminary checkout, care of tapes, operation tests. I think that's the same manual that I already had. Well, it's really a nice shape. Not yellowed at all. Well, that's nice. I mean, that might be the most mint-looking data set that I own. Probably needs new belts, but... Okay, well, I'll play with that more later. So I thought it'd be interesting to look at these items. I have no idea if anything here still works. And I'd also like to try to show some of the different variations of the VIC-20 that are around, kind of to put this in context. Seems the VIC-20 is still a fairly mysterious machine to a lot of people compared to the Commodore 64, based on the questions I get whenever I do talk about the VIC-20. And I picked all this up locally from a former coworker's sister's ex-husband's wife's deceased aunt. So, thanks to everybody involved. Well, sorry about the aunt dying there, but I think this was in the basement of her house for many, many years. 40 plus years. And I got a chance to get it. Okay, so let's look at the Viccessories first. Don't think I've ever seen one of these in person before. Got a little handle here that also helps keep it closed. Looks like it has a little bit of mildew damage, unfortunately. I'll try cleaning that up with vinegar, and I think it's just in this inner box here. Anyway, let's just take the stuff out here. Cartridges, dust cover, and the joystick. The joystick box looks super mint. This is the Commodore joystick model 1311, as opposed to the VIC-1311, which is sometimes called the lawsuit joystick. Nothing in the box. Okay, the joystick itself looks like it did actually get a lot of uses. Yellowed and a bit grubby. So presumably this system did see a fair bit of use, but the box was just stored away safely somewhere. These joysticks are fairly famously bad. They look kind of cool, but the triangle stick, the single button, I mean, I guess it's nice that it's kind of ambidextrous, but it's actually pretty terrible to use. Commodore designed this because the first VIC joystick they released was a total clone of the Atari 2600 joystick. I think I have one of those around. I'll find it. Oh. So this is the original joystick that Commodore released, called the VIC-1311. And it is a total ripoff of the Atari 2600 one, except that it says Commodore here, and they changed the color scheme. Okay, so apparently Atari started to sue Commodore, so Commodore withdrew all these, and then quickly designed and released this guy. So you see they kept roughly the same height, but made it more narrow. And where the original stick is like a hexagon, 6-sided, they went to this 3-sided kind of triangle thing. And then put the button in the middle. I mean, at least it's their own design now, when they also kind of tapered it there. But this joystick's much worse to use, at least most of the time. And not nearly as valuable as that other one. The other one can sell for $100, even loose. Alright, and this dust cover. I don't know if this is being used or not. There it is. That certainly smells like basement. It's in fine shape though. Doesn't look like it was used much. Has a cutout for the power and joystick ports on the side. Try to remember to put that on top of the VIC-20 after we get that out. These are, I think they are two of the very best VIC-20 games that were released. It's got the manual. Omega Race. Contacts look good. I call it, they had these metal labels. And the manual here. Yeah, these are the earlier releases. And then I've been calling these kind of slip cases. I've actually been working towards a complete collection of the VIC-20 cartridges, not all boxed. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I noticed that they have different styles of boxes. I'll get to that in another video. But you see how the manual would slip down. And I guess that was meant to be a cost savings because they could have a generic outer box and then just customize the manual. But I think later they actually found that there was no cost savings there. They actually saved more money by making the manual cheaper and not slipping it in anymore, just having like a leaflet inside the box. Okay, so Omega Race. Yeah, it even has still have the plastic sleeve. And Avenger. I love the Space Invaders game, made by HAL Laboratories. Look, oh, that got crinkled there. Okay, so this, I love these early manuals or instruction booklets where it's one continuous piece of art, even, it only overhangs a little bit, but how it's all just uniform, folded in half. Some of them actually have really nice art that goes the whole way around. And I think these are some of the nicest manuals, and these are some of the earliest ones. Avenger, instructions for use. How to use the laser cannon. Oh yeah, keyboard controls, L and semicolon to move and A to shoot. Just like the Space Invaders for the PET. Which, this was HAL Laboratories. I think there's a direct connection to that PET version that was made by the same people in Japan. Okay, oh, and this one has a little bit different of an insert here. Again, with the little baggie still. Really nice. Avenger. VIC-1901, and this was the very first cartridge in all the VIC series. I think there were about, was it 43 in total? I don't remember. And again, the contacts look nice and clean there. Okay, so we'll try those after we try to boot up the VIC-20. So if you just want to see if the VIC-20 works, check my chapter index. I always do one. I have a few other things I want to kind of talk about here. Oh. To look at this sleeve a little bit more, I guess Commodore Canada put this together. And just everything's a little different. The font is a little different here. It's kind of like they took the American box and then had to recreate it and maybe weren't given all the same assets or information. I don't know if they kind of did this independently. Okay, well here, just to show you, not just talking about it. The personal color computer plays great games, ... does a lot more. Kind of weird they didn't put the does down here. Maybe it wouldn't fit. VIC modem. Yeah, and again, you see here where it says Commodore computer? That's just, it's a different font. It's just kind of like the slightly different. We do things a little different here in Canada, I guess. I'm just more used to the American box because I've seen a lot more of them. Oh, that's in upside down. Okay, so there's the regular American box. If you're familiar with the VIC-20 and you're in the US, like the majority of my viewers are, then this is probably the box that you're familiar with. There, you see? They just didn't do the font quite right there, did they? Can you read that upside down? Even the slogan, great games, great learning, great price. Trademark, was that ever used in the US? Of course, the one I'm familiar with from the States is the friendly computer and the personal color computer with arcade game excitement. Yes, I realize not everybody's a nerd about things like box art, but I love this kind of stuff. To me, this is part of what makes retro computing so much fun, is seeing the boxes, the marketing, how they tried to sell it to you. So on the back of this, back of the American one here, it shows all the games that were available. I'll probably take a still photo that's higher resolution and let you see up close what it looks like. Most or all of this artwork here is not actual screenshots. They are, artist's conception, but not ridiculous, like not just a painting or whatever. They tried to make it look roughly like what the game will look like. So it's really fascinating. Like Gorf, Raid on Fort Knox, Midnight Drive, Blackjack. It's like Blackjack, I'm not even sure that ever got released as Blackjack. That might be part of another game. Omega Race, Radar Rat Race, Super Slot, Space Vultures. I don't believe that was ever released, at least not by Commodore. Jupiter Lander, Pinball Spectacular, Wizard of War, 5 adventure games. Play exciting adventure games. You are in a meadow. You see a sleeping dragon. What do? Wake dragon. Vic Super Alien, Draw Poker, Vic Avenger, Visit the Planets. I think that became Visible Solar System. The Sky is Falling. Home Babysitting Programs. So there was eventually a Home Babysitter released. Mole Attack, Space Math Tutor. I don't know about that one. Financial Planning. VIC Typewriter Word Processor is part of financial planning. I guess they mean like home utilities. Personal Finance 1 and 2, Loan and Mortgage Calculator. VIC Vault, Home Inventory, Electronic Calendar. Sargon 2 Chess. Speed Type Biorhythms, Introduction to Basic Programming, and Computer Artists, all personal improvement. Uses basic computer language taught in schools. All right, let's open up. Got the VIC-20 manual in a plastic bag. Let's pull the stuff out of here. There's the video. Power supply. All right, and we'll pull the VIC out. And in plastic. There we go. Okay, so it is one of these kind of gold label VIC-20s, which I think is what all the early ones were. And yet it has the newer keyboard, same as the Commodore 64 one. And that's actually the third VIC-20 keyboard that was ever used, and the final one. So that's kind of unusual, I think. And over here, it is a 2-prong VIC power supply, not the Commodore 64 style one that newer VIC-20s have. So newer keyboard, but still with the what sometimes is called kind of the tan, or some people call them orange, but more like tan function keys, and the 2-prong power supply, which means it's the older motherboard. Try that power supply out in a bit. You see it is the correct one, the 2-prong. These ones are typically pretty reliable because they are just AC output. It even says here, output 10 volts AC, while the computer says 9 volt, but these are unregulated. They actually put out even more than 10 volts, but that's okay. The regulation's taken care of by the VIC-20. Okay, and there's just the TV switch box. Yeah, and the RF modulators actually, this circuit is actually in this box. On the Commodore 64, they moved it inside, so it actually puts RF out directly out of the computer. Here they converted, I guess, from composite video to RF in this box. And there's the manual. Personal computing on the VIC-20. And this is a manual that a lot of people love. I actually didn't get VIC-20 until after. I had C64 first. I know that people who got VIC-20 first just absolutely love this manual and think it's, most everybody says it's way better than the Commodore 64's user manual. I don't have a particular love for it. I think this is perfectly good. The C64 manual is also quite good, I think. Well, it's okay. Of course, the programmer's reference guide is excellent for the Commodore 64. So that's nice. And as with everything else, still the plastic bag. So again, if you don't care about these details, skip ahead. But here, I want to compare something. This is the Commodore 64 style keyboard. Here, I'll just prove it. So here's the Commodore 64. This is that Calgary Olympics one I picked up a while ago. And it actually shipped from the factory with these VIC-20 keyboards. And they, I believe, are identical. This different color of the function keys, which you don't so often see in the C64. And it was very standard on the VIC-20. The actual shape of all the letters here, it's like Helvetica. I'll put if I'm wrong, I'll put it on the screen there. Okay, and here's one of my silver label Commodore 64s. And you see it also has exactly the same font on the keyboard here. And it has the more gray function keys as opposed to the orange tan ones. But to continue comparing actual VIC-20s, here is my pet style keyboard for the VIC-20. You notice that the letters are just like way beefier, way wider, much bolder. And this uses like a micro gamma or a microgramma, as sometimes is said, which is just a very classic font used in sci-fi. 2001, A Space Odyssey used that. Some Star Trek used it. Well, it goes just so many science fiction movies. Commodore chose it on their PAT and then on the early VIC-20s. And when they went from the Commodore PAT to the VIC-20, they kept this style of keyboard. It isn't actually a PET keyboard. They did make it newly, but there's lineage from the PET keyboard. Okay, so this is like the original VIC-20 keyboard right here. Oh, maybe I should go from left. Right. Okay, so this is first, and this is third. This is the new one I'm looking at today, the Canadian one that we're looking at today. Okay, now this horribly discolored VIC-20 here, look how horribly yellowed it is. It's almost pink, it's so yellow. This has the second keyboard style, and the font, this is often called the Euro style keyboard, and it's sort of like the PET style still, but it's not bold. They're not as wide, but it's still roughly the same character set. But then a lot of special keys like Control, Stop, and so on are tiny. So I'm not even sure if that's the same typeface or not, but certainly it's pretty small. All the numbers are much smaller than the letters. It's just a very different looking keyboard. And I think this is the most rare one. So if I put that one in there, sorry if that's not going to perfectly fit, but if you can kind of try to compare like that. So if I'm repeating myself, VIC-20 keyboard number 1 is the PET style. VIC-20 keyboard number 2 is called the Euro style. And then number 3 is Helvetica Nero or whatever, which is also the same as the Commodore 64 keyboard used in all the bread bins C64s. Okay, so I'm bringing this up in case, this is the kind of nerdy stuff that I like, and I'm sure some of you like, and some of you don't care. Again, skip ahead if you don't. But what I want to emphasize here is how these things aren't linear. You might think, first Commodore made this one, then they made this one, then they made this one, but never make assumptions about what Commodore does and like what order, and don't assume just because you see one example of something that all will follow that. Here's why. The original VIC-20 has the 2-pin power supply and the silvery gold label. In fact, this one looks a bit more silver to me. And this new one we're looking at today looks a bit more gold to me. Okay, but as we showed, it has a 2-pin power supply. Here's the bizarre thing. This middle computer has the DIN power supply like the Commodore 64. And certainly most VIC-20s I've seen with the new keyboard also have the DIN power connector like the Commodore 64, but not all. You can have the new keyboard and the old motherboard and power supply, or you can have the medium keyboard. And I mean, these are, as far as I know, right from the factory like this. The only thing I don't think I've ever seen is a PET style keyboard with a new Commodore 64 style power connector and the revised cost reduced motherboard. But maybe even that exists. Okay, back to the new one to me. I don't think I'll bother opening this up first, but I always give a shake test. Make sure there's nothing loose. Upside down. Oh yeah, and we'll see here, it has a Made in Canada sticker. Serial number V245879. And I always make sure I look at the ports, make sure there's nothing weird in there. Nothing stuck in cartridge slot. Okay, and to test this power supply, just gotta plug it into the AC there. It's not making any noise. Okay, and with the multimeter, just going to put it in AC mode here. And just stick a probe in each one. It doesn't matter which one. There. Okay, so 10.8 volts AC. And that's fine. It says it's putting out 10. I think I've even seen them put out over 11. It doesn't really matter because the regulator's in the VIC-20. And that's what the C64 ones there so famously fail. The regulation fails inside of it, and they stop putting out a safe 5 volts and go way beyond. Okay, so I think we are clear to give this a try. If it doesn't work, I don't think I'm going to repair it today. Okay, power's in. Just going to use the same video cable I use on my C64 all the time. Okay, here goes. Come on. Ooh. Well, almost good. But it's not putting out a steady NTSC signal. And my video capture's having a problem with it. Turn it off. Try it again. Alright, I'm going to spray a little bit of contact cleaner. Whoops. In the power switch. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, it's not just flaky power. So it could be the VIC, or is the crystal out? Who knows? Does the keyboard work? 10, print. My video capture device keeps refinding the NTSC signal there, so it's going to just look ugly. Run. Okay, there's 10 print on a only somewhat working VIC-20. Ooh. So I assume what's happening is that the video signal is drifting and the video capture device is understanding that as other colors. Ooh. Isn't that funny how the border's changing? In a way, the picture's more stable now. Oh! Look! It fixed itself. Is it going to go poof? Oh! So it seems we have a flaky VIC video chip. There, look, it's stable. Self-healing. The electrolytes or something just had to realign themselves. They haven't felt the power in so long. They forgot how good it feels for when you get it from a pure source. Or maybe it's 10 print healed the VIC. Was that something? Must be the capacitors. They got dry and old and now they're just juicing up again. Don't ever trust me for hardware advice, by the way. I'm going to suggest that 10 print looks cooler on the VIC-20 than it does on the Commodore 64. Something about the shape of the character set. This looks a little bit more 3D, kind of in perspective to me right now. Maybe I'm just happy that this VIC-20 kind of resurrected itself. Okay, I'm going to try turning it off. I'll put that VIC-20, that dust cover on it, just to say we did it. cutout works pretty good on the side here. And it just pulls down just enough at the back there. So it's like angled here. That's kind of cool. Okay, and one other thing to try, I'm going to try Avenger. And we're going to try this nasty old joystick. Given how beat up the joystick looks compared to absolutely everything else, I suspect that the joystick got used because it's compatible with other systems like Atari or whatever. And I guess even, of course, the Commodore 64. I'm going to suspect that this joystick got used on other systems by this household. Okay, and yeah, the VIC-20 only has one joystick port. There, we'll plug it in at the side. Okay, is this still going to keep working even after it's been powered back off? Yeah. Oh, colors are a little bit weird. Okay, let's try it. Push F1 to begin. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Oh, and no, the joystick is not working well. Oh, there, the color came back, though. It seems that left and right do not work properly on this. Fire button doesn't start the game. That might be normal, though. Press F1. Yeah. Left. Right is not working on the joystick. Kind of loose fitting, though. I wiggle the joystick. It's actually looser than I expected. I push right and wiggle the joystick a little. The port. No. And actually that rubber on there is kind of tacky. Almost like it's decaying or something. Well, not rubber, plastic, but it feels kind of rubbery. Okay, but you know what? I'm going to try the keyboard. Ooh, that's nice. I really love this version of Space Invaders, or Avengers as it's called. I'm going to try and get through one level here. Oh. Well, I'm happy the keyboard works so well. Absolutely perfect. I typed 10 print with no trouble at all. Oh. Missed the mothership. I thought I got that one. There we go. Got the mothership. Ooh. Ah! Ooh. There we go. Woo! Okay, 950 points. I gotta get to 1,000 now. I got an extra guy there. There, 1,000. Okay. I'll have to finish the game. Okay, and last thing, of course, I have to try the Penultimate +2. Thanks to the future was 8-bit for supplying this. And if it can run this, then we know it's in pretty good shape. Oh, loading. Well, that didn't work, but I guess I may have had it in that random runner game. I'm going to press the menu button. Oh, there we go. And we'll go into Utilities. And let's try Dead Test Plus. It's doing the RAM test. Okay, the RAM passed. This is a very thorough RAM test. Hey! Okay, I'll probably fast forward some of this just to get to the end result. Well, the picture certainly seems stable now. There we go. Testing color RAM. Past, basic, character RAM. Hey! Okay, it's good. And self-test. This one runs a little bit quicker. This is actually testing the Penultimate +2. I mean, obviously, if it can pass that, then the VIC-20 itself is working pretty good. So yes, just something kind of funny with the video there for a while. Seems really stable now. Dry capacitors is my completely unknowledgeable diagnosis. There we go. Okay, Rod's Random ROM Runner. Jungle Hunt by Atari Soft. Does it have a keyboard version? Wait, I forgot I had my Lawsuit Edition Atari Joystick handy. Yeah, that works better. Woo! Right at the bottom. This is the Jungle Hunt where they made a kind of like a Pitfall Harry ripoff kind of guy. Because originally they had Tarzan, in the arcade anyway. And they got sued by the Tarzan people. You know, the Tarzan people. Woo! Oh! Tests your patience like no other. It's funny that this older joystick works so much better, but it might just be the other one was overused. Is that the water? There we go. Jumped in. Oh, I spoke too soon. I don't think down works. Oh! There we go. Huh. The down capacitor had to warm up too. I'm just joking. Those crocodiles are pretty hilarious. Okay. That's enough of that. Okay, thanks very much to Brian for signing me up with getting this computer. Just need to see a bit of history and the different versions of the VIC-20 that were around. I'm sure the Commodore in each of the countries where Commodore had a headquarters, they probably all did their own kind of interesting things. So it's interesting to see what they did here in Canada. That was fun to play with. Thanks very much to my patrons for their support. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.